Yes, I'm in love with my Ludmilla. As some of you may know, Ludmilla is a Eastern European origin girl's name, so let's look up Google and see if we can find a little bit more about Ludmilla. So we'll look under images here. Ludmilla, yeah, very nice, but this is Ludmilla Ravchenko and it's not Ludmilla Radchenko, although quite interesting. It's not Ludmilla Turisheva, who was the queen of gymnastics in the Olympics of around 72. So which Ludmilla are we talking about? There's a little bit of information here. What's this? Yeah, there we are. Ludmilla is a class 131, 132, now a class 232 heavy diesel locomotive. This is Ludmilla, and I love it. I'll have a look, show you in a moment, because I've gone around and purchased one, and it's fantastic. So, Ludmilla. I've been looking at this for quite a while and finally found on internet a deal I couldn't pass up. This 6-axle, extremely heavy mainline goods diesel. There's quite a story about our friend Ludmilla here. It was developed in Russia, actually in Ukraine, on the Ukraine-Russian border. Let's not go there. And they built about 700 or 800 of these for the Eastern European and Russian market. And of course in 1990, when the wall came down, the West German and East German railways merged, and the West German Deutsche Bahn inherited a couple of hundred of these Eastern European behemoths and started to incorporate them into the complete German railways. They turned out to be quite a good design, in fact. And the West Germans also refurbished them, and they're still in service even now, pulling heavy steel and coal trains, etc. That's a brief background. Let's pull her out, and she is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. We'll get her out of the box. There we go. She's so extremely heavy. Typical Russian design, built to last forever. There she is. Alright, just to give you an idea of what Ludmilla really looks like. This is some of my mainline locomotives. Swiss 6-axle heavy electric locomotive. Some 3 standard class 216, 218 diesels. An older class 200 diesel. And some Dutch Railways electric locomotives, the 1200. Which incidentally was an American design. If you look at it, designed by Westinghouse and part of the Marshall Plan. They were part of the delivery to the Netherlands, and the Netherlands had a license to build quite a few of them. 1200, the 1100, a really nice little locomotive doing passenger service into cities. So this is part of my set of locomotives. Mainline locomotives, and here comes Ludmilla. Here comes Ludmilla. Huge, just dwarfs the other engines. Of course, she's 6-axle, but typical Russian, everything is humongously overdimensioned. The axle load on the 6 axles, it was over 20 tons. I mean, this thing weighed more than 120 tons. So it couldn't run on all the lines, but had to stick mostly to main lines and well-serviced branch lines, but couldn't run on general industrial lines. So that's an example on size-wise. Just to give you an idea of also on the sheer weight of our Ludmilla. A standard general purpose German diesel, even with a little bit of extra weight added, is 445 grams, or close to 16 ounces. The heavier electrical 6-axle Westinghouse unit, 490 grams, or about 18 ounces. And that's most of my engines are in that range of about 14 to 16 ounces. Here comes Ludmilla. Ludmilla comes in at a massive 660 grams, which is almost 24 ounces for those of you that still work in medieval measurement systems. 660 grams or 24 ounces. Absolutely incredible. And this is why I'm in love with Ludmilla. Okay, I'm not going to do a review because it's a second-hand model. It's been out for a while. But Ludmilla's, why is it called Ludmilla? Because that's its pet name. Being Russian, I don't know whether they thought Ludmilla was a Russian female drill sergeant or something, but it's a name that's stuck as a pet name for the locomotive, Ludmilla. It's by Rocco. I think they've done a great job of it. The weight is fantastic. This is although I bought it second-hand, it hasn't been used very much. There's still some detailing parts, hoses and things around, and door handles to be put on. And it came with an analog chip in it, and I've chipped it digitally. Also added a stay alive circuit to it, and so it now run on the track. I'll put it on the test track here. We can just watch it run as a final tribute to a fantastic locomotive. Okay, we'll put her on the track. This is my little test oval that I can run in locomotives and program them and all that sort of thing. So, I hadn't wired up the track, so I just hooked it up. Alright, we'll send her on her way. Speed step 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Got the inertia in there, so speeding up to about half speed. Alright, slowing down. Lights change. Speed step 1, speed step 2. Driven on 4 axles. Center placed motor. In fact, this is one of the only locomotives I have with a center placed motor. I have all my locomotives are at least 20 or 30 years old. Again, because I can't afford new ones. So they all have the older rotor stator motors driving one bogie. But this Roco has the center placed motor driving both bogies through oh, what's the name of it? Gregor Fishplate Films hates them. Worm drives. Yeah, worm drives. But a lovely locomotive. A really lovely locomotive. I think next shot I'll just put her on the track upstairs with a few steel carriages behind, just for the fun. Okay, got Ludmilla on the layout, hooked up to a set of cars with. It'll be basically used for heavy steel and coal. This consist doesn't do justice to Ludmilla. She would want at least 20 or more cars behind her to feel like she's really doing her bit. But this is what I've got at the moment, and we'll start her up and just follow her around the track a little. Okay, that's Ludmilla. I absolutely love her. Bye, all.